The most common question I get asked when talking about being a long distance runner is, how are your knees? What these people seem to care about is, will running today cause problems later in life? So today we're going to look at the long-term effects of running on knees and answer the question, is running bad for them? But more importantly, we're going to look into how to prevent knee problems so that you can run happily into later life. I'm going to save you some time, and no, running is not bad for your knees, but there are a couple of caveats that we're going to go through today. Before we do that, let's look at what the research says. Thankfully, there are many papers that show on average runners have better knee health than non-runners. This 2017 systematic review did an analysis of 17 other studies which included over 100,000 participants collectively, and it found clearly that the running population had significantly lower incidence of knee and hip arthritis than the sedentary control groups. The study did find that elite and professional runners did have slightly raised incidence of knee arthritis, so if you fall into that category of super fit human, you will have to put extra emphasis on the things that prevent knee degeneration, which I have coming up later in the video. Us average runners can take solace in the fact that running isn't inherently bad for the knees and actually seems to be quite good for them. A little side note, I made a video a while ago that spoke about low back pain, and we found the same thing there, that running is great for the lower back discs. So all in all, the low intensity and rhythmic impact of running seems to be good for our joints when done in relative moderation. Now, I'm a big believer in the fact that when you are running in the correct way and doing the right exercises, you should be able to build up to running without knee pain. But in the short term, if you have knee pain, a good way to get fit but take the pressure off the knees is with cycling, so you may be interested in today's video sponsor, Yesoul. I've been using this bike for a couple of weeks now and it is so much fun. It is a multifunctional home exercise bike designed for epic workouts in a small space. It comes with a 21-inch rotating screen along with a sound bar, which is amazing by the way, and it has a free screencasting feature which requires no subscriptions to be able to use, so that you can cast anything from your phone. You can watch your YouTube, your Netflix, your Prime Video, whatever you want to watch, so that you can enjoy your workouts and stay entertained at the same time. Now for me personally, this is a great use case. The way I've been using this bike is to get in some extra Zone 2 training while just watching Netflix and killing some time. I've also turned the screen around and done my favourite Yoga with Adrienne yoga workouts sitting next to the bike. But if you wanted, Yesoul have a fantastic app where they have amazing high intensity workouts if you really like your spinning and those sorts of cardio workouts. My wife loves these. She loves the high intensity classes with blaring music, and my kids have even been on it while watching their favourite TV shows too. It really has been a great piece of kit for the whole family. I've really enjoyed using this bike. It's been a fantastic addition to my home gym, and it is a fraction of the cost of other well-known brands that do similar bikes like this. So thank you Yesoul for sponsoring this video. Now when it comes to looking after your own knees, there are a couple of things to not do, and one of them is based around your technique. You'll be pleased to know that when we look at research around technique, it doesn't really matter as much as people think. Generally, the more you run, the better your technique is going to get. So I always say to people, if you start running and then you run 3 times a week for 2 years, you're going to look a hell of a lot different in 2 years' time. Your body will just figure out the way to run well over time. So don't worry too much about your technique, just run consistently. Having said that, when it comes to knee pain, there is one strong correlative factor, and that's overstriding. If you reach your foot too far out in front of you, we would say you're sent too far out in front of your center of mass, and the way to see this is from a side view when you're running. That can cause, using Newton's law of motion, action equals reaction, it can cause too much force going back up into your knee and hip and back. So the trick when it comes to looking after your knees is to try and cycle your legs rather than pendulum swing your legs in your running stroke, and place your foot close to underneath your center of mass. It's never going to land directly underneath, and that would be weird if it did, but you're trying to pull that leg through in the swing phase so that it lands close to underneath your center of mass, and that will help buffer the force that comes up from the ground into your ankle, knee and hip. The other thing that is really important to not do is not build up your running volume and intensity too fast. We've all done it, we've all made this mistake, but if you keep building up your volume too fast, that is the sort of thing that's going to cause injury. When people do it consistently, I call it the yo-yo effect. You build up too fast, you get injured, you go back to square one, you feel frustrated that you're at square one, so you build up too fast again, get injured again. A much more sensible way to approach your running is to have a plan, have a structure, and gradually build up over time so that you know you're building the foundations, not just in your fitness, but in your tissue resilience, your joint resilience, and that is the best way to build training and be consistent over a long period of time. Now, there are some exercises to do that can also help protect your knees. These 3 exercises I'm going to share now are taken from a whole body strength routine that I built for runners called Mountain Strong. If you're new to strength training, you know it's important, but you just don't know where to start, this program might be for you. But the 3 exercises I'm going to share now are really good for your knees. One of my favorites is the knees over toes split squat, which I stole from Ben Patrick, aka Knees Over Toes Guy. The knees over toes split squat is fantastic because it's kind of a 2-for-1. You get the benefit of the front knee working really hard into full flexion, but you also get the back hip working into full extension, so it's a great hip flexor stretch on the back leg. You're working all the way into knee flexion and then having to push yourself back out of it. So not only is the knee flexion flushing the joint and nourishing the cartilage and ligaments in the knee joint, but you're also putting the lower quads onto maximum stretch and then asking them to work and control from that maximum flex position. Start with just body weight, or if that feels too much, you can put your front foot onto a step and that's a bit easier. And then gradually, as you progress and you're down on ground level, you can start to add load if you wish. My next favorite exercise is a slant wedge deep squat, and I go heavy on this. This is actually how I do my heavy squatting. As a runner, I have slightly tighter ankles, but also as a long-legged person, my squat mechanics aren't great, so I find that raising my heels up allows me to squat deep where my hips can go below parallel. I feel it's important as human beings to maintain strength throughout full knee and hip flexion. Running doesn't take us through full knee and hip flexion, and most of our daily life in the modern world doesn't either because of chairs, so I like to try and build strength through full range of motion. And the wedges really help me with that. Being generally strong and putting a good strength stimulus through your body once or twice a week is going to be one of the main things that helps prevent degeneration later in life. The other exercise that I get a huge amount of benefit from is the Poliquin step. It's using the slant wedges again, and if you can, you're going to put it on a step and reach the moving heel below the level of the step to lightly touch the floor. When you feel ready, you can add load by holding some dumbbells, and I would say this is the main exercise that makes my knees feel extra robust and strong for downhill running. And I love running in the mountains, so this is going to be the main thing that I just keep doing to protect my knees for downhills. If you want a whole body routine, I'll share this video here, and you can check out my Mountain Strong program, which I'll link below. And until next time, happy training.